Today's program: Stellantis will manufacture Chinese cars in Brittany, the new Mercedes-AMG GT will make any purist cry, Mini has rediscovered the definition of the word mini in the dictionary, and Brabus unveils a car for depressed billionaires. Before discussing today's automotive news, let's briefly mention BoursoBank, now offering a welcome bonus. BoursoBank is simply the cheapest bank in France for the past 17 years, and right now, you can receive up to 200 euros as a welcome gift when you open your account with just a first deposit. Plus, BoursoBank means zero account maintenance fees, free deposits and withdrawals, even abroad, a customizable card with immediate or deferred debit, and on average 252 euros saved per year on banking fees. That's enough to buy you about 36 beautiful seat covers. Opening an account is 100% online, fast and secure, and most importantly, you can try it out without changing banks. And if one day you decide to switch over permanently, their Easy Move service does the work for you. Taxes, electricity, insurance, BoursoBank handles all the paperwork with authorities while you browse car ads you'll never buy. You can find the link in the description to open your BoursoBank account and receive your 200 euros bonus. And as is often the case in the automotive world, when you miss out on a good deal, you end up regretting it. Stellantis has just made a radical decision. Imagine, we're in Brittany at Rennes-la-Janais, a historic factory opened in 1961 by General de Gaulle himself. The birthplace of the Mi-6, the BX, the Xantia, a monument of the French automotive industry that lately looked a bit like an old haunted mansion. A lot of space, 530,000 square meters to be precise, but less and less life. Today, the factory survives only thanks to a single model. The Citroën C5 Aircross and its 2,000 employees are all too familiar with furloughs. But rest assured, Stellantis, this gigantic conglomerate that already owns 14 brands, has found the miracle solution to save this Breton flagship. And this solution is Chinese and it's called Dongfeng. Yes, Stellantis, led by Antonio Filosa, has just announced the creation of a joint venture with the Chinese state-owned manufacturer Dongfeng. The goal is to produce Chinese electric cars right in the heart of Brittany. The idea on paper is impressively logical, relentless. Europe, in a surge of protectionism, has just slapped massive tariffs on Chinese electric cars, up to 35% for some. What are our Chinese friends doing? They're going around the wall, while Stellantis generously opens the back door for them. By producing in France, Dongfeng gets the precious Made in Europe label and escapes the taxes. For Stellantis, it's an opportunity to fill a factory that was running empty and to save its jobs. It's commendable, but let's not be naive. Stellantis holds 51% of this new joint venture, which will handle selling, distributing, and even designing the models of Voya, Dongfeng's premium brand. Voya, which for now only sells a handful of cars in Norway, but has overwhelming global ambitions. So they're promising us new energy vehicles, maybe the Voya Courage electric SUV, or even the small city car Nami Box, which could even snatch up the French EV subsidy. Imagine a Chinese car made in France, subsidized by our taxes. Antonio Filosa explains that this will broaden the options for customers, with even more competitive prices. So, is Stellantis letting the wolf into the sheepfold? Or rather the dragon into the creperie? The Rennes factory is saved, sure, but at what cost? In the meantime, get ready. Soon, on the roads of Brittany, between two tractors, you'll come across brand new Chinese SUVs, proud of their Rennes pedigree. Next, let's talk about a heresy, a blasphemy, an industrial sacrilege so monumental that it would make any true car enthusiast cry in despair. Mercedes-AMG, the home of the Biturbo V8, the temple of burning rubber, the place where they make cars that sound like an angry summer thunderstorm, said to itself, "What if we made an electric car?" The worst part is, they actually did it. So here is the Mercedes-AMG GT 4-door electric coupe, a long name for a car that, on paper, sounds like a bad joke. But be careful. It's a joke with 1,169 horsepower. To reach this crazy number, Mercedes didn't do things halfway. They installed 3 axial flux electric motors, These little technological gems are so compact they're barely 8 centimeters wide, but they deliver 2,000 Newton meters of torque. As a result, 0 to 100 in 2.1 seconds for this 2.5-ton monster with a top speed of 300 km/h. But Mercedes has really lost its mind with the charging. They claim it goes from 10 to 80% in 11 minutes, all thanks to a 106 kilowatt-hour battery cooled by a special coolant that circulates directly through the cells. But the real problem with this car isn't its technology, it's its soul, or rather its simulation of a soul. Mercedes knows very well that its traditional customers, the ones who buy AMGs to wake up their neighbors on Sunday mornings, don't want a giant vacuum cleaner. So what did they do? Well, they invented the AMG Force S Plus mode. Plus, that's where it gets hilarious. This mode uses more than 1,600 sound files to artificially recreate the noise of a V8. It even simulates gear shifts with torque interruptions. It's like eating a tofu steak while a speaker plays you the sound of a cow mooing. And all this for what? Well, to go fight on the Nürburgring against the Porsche Taycan, whose sales are plummeting, and the Xiaomi SU7 Ultra, a Chinese car made by people who were still making smartphones 5 years ago. The electric sports car market is collapsing. Customers don't really want them. And Mercedes is coming in with this 5-meter-long monster, lower than a pancake, hoping to salvage the situation. So yes, the aerodynamics are crazy with Venturi channels and an active spoiler. Yes, the interior looks like the cockpit of a rocket with screens everywhere, and not everyone will like that. But in the end, this electric AMG GT is a completely crazy gamble. It's an engineering marvel, absolutely. And it would take a 10-minute video to detail all of Mercedes' innovations in this car, but it's also proof that even with 1,169 horsepower, you can't replace the raw emotion of a real combustion engine. As for its design, I'll let you give me your opinion in the comments. At Mini, they're seriously considering redefining the word Mini because, let's be honest, for years calling these cars Mini is a bit like calling a hippopotamus tiny. The original 1959 Mini, the one by Sir Alec Isagonis, was barely 3 meters long. It was a brilliant shoebox on wheels in which you could fit 4 adults as long as they were very good friends. And today, an electric Mini Cooper is almost 3.9 meters long and weighs nearly 1.7 tons. And I'm not even talking about the Countryman, which is so huge you could probably park a 1959 Mini in its glove compartment. But here's the big news. Mini is considering making a real Mini again. A small one, a tiny one, a car that truly deserves its name. The design director, Holger Humph, recently admitted that he's working on an exciting project, a car that's only 3.6 meters long. If that number sounds familiar, it's because it's the same size as the Rocket Man concept shown at the 2011 Geneva Motor Show. Yes, it took them 15 years to realize that this brilliant concept might actually be a good idea to put into production. But why did they take so long, and why is it so complicated to make small cars today? Well, the blame goes to our wonderful era, obsessed with safety and gadgets. Humph explains it very well. Today's customers want everything. They want parking sensors, 360-degree cameras, adaptive cruise control, massage seats, and above all, there are the safety standards. To get the famous 5 stars in the Euro NCAP crash test, you need crumple zones, airbags everywhere, and sensors to avoid running over pedestrians distracted by their phones. Trying to fit all that into a 3.6-meter car is technically possible, but it requires a lot of engineering. Yet there is hope. The market for small electric city cars is booming. Renault is coming back with its new Twingo. Volkswagen is working on the replacement for the EUP, and Smart has just unveiled a concept that's less than 2.8 meters long. Mini can't stay on the sidelines. So yes, this future real Mini, if it comes to life, will be electric. It will have a small battery, a range limited to about 250 kilometers, and it won't break any charging speed records. But it will be agile, fun, able to weave through city alleys and park in the tiniest spaces. There is no official release date yet. They're talking about 2029 at the earliest. And finally, let's talk about how Germans handle their emotions. When a normal person loses a loved one, they buy flowers, write a nice speech, and maybe if they're really upset, adopt a dog. But at Brabus, the famous German tuner, known for turning Mercedes into ballistic missiles, they don't do subtlety. When their founder, Bodo passed away in 2018, they didn't plant a tree. No, they built a car, and not just any car, but an extravagant Gothic Hyper GT so black that it literally absorbs the light around it. So here it is, freshly unveiled, the Brabus Bodo, a car designed for depressed billionaires who think the Batmobile lacks a bit of presence. On paper, it's an Aston Martin Vanquish, but Brabus has modified it so much that the connection isn't obvious at first glance. The bodywork is entirely made of black carbon fiber stretched over an aluminum chassis. The front is aggressive, angular, ready to devour electric city cars for breakfast. But the real scandal, the true insult to our ecology-obsessed era, is found under the hood. In a world where everyone swears by hybrids, electric cars, and three-cylinder engines that sound like an asthmatic blender, Brabus said no. They kept the 5.2-liter twin-turbo V12 and pushed it to 1,000 horsepower. 1,000 horsepower and 1,200 newton-meters of torque. 0 to 100 kilometers per hour takes in just over 3 seconds, and the top speed is 360 kilometers per hour. All of that in a car that weighs 1,910 kilograms. And because it's Brabus, they've added completely useless details. The camshaft covers and the carbon airboxes have real gold particles woven into them. Why? Because they can. It's ostentatious, it's vulgar, and it's absolutely brilliant. Inside, fortunately, you still get the comfort of an Aston Martin. There's leather everywhere, and a huge panoramic roof. The Brabus Bodo will be limited to 77 units as a tribute to the company's founding year, 1977. The price? Over €1 million. It's an astronomical sum, of course, but for a car that has more presence than an aircraft carrier and makes any normal Aston Martin look like a rental, it's almost a bargain. Thank you all for watching this new video. Feel free to subscribe and turn on the notification bell to make sure you don't miss anything. Ciao.